Maybe also Bezabi in the 88 Porsche might be able to catch the drivers ahead. And look at that, suddenly the Lexus, driven by GT Racer, is back in the mix as well here, right behind Bezabi in the 88 Porsche. Or maybe there's damage involved, so this looked too easy for the Lexus to get around the Porsche there. Or maybe we see some fuel saving involved here as well, but this looked like a very easy pass here. And here we go, Magnet and Octavian. Again, Quiddelbacher Höhe coming towards Mutkurve. Single file please, guys, single file please. It is, and they're catching the GTR here. Gained a few tenths on it. So yeah, still 3, 4, 5, they're all inside of the slipstream here. Now going up the hill. Now they will approach Hohe Acht and Wippermann for the final time here as well. Right-hander, right, left, left, right. This fast-flowing section. Who has the best tires? Who can push on fuel? Now on the second half of this final lap for the drivers. So we see the AMG, this 61 AMG really close now, and there was contact between. No, this was clearly a push to pass maneuver here. He outbroke himself into Brünnchen and then drove off Pristina here. Was silly move, yeah, totally agreed on that. Not really necessary to do that move. So again, whereas Pristina, he's in P6, lost 3 positions with that move. The battle is still raging on between Octavian Apex and GT Racer. Through Schwalbenschwanz, mini carousel exit. One more time. Galgenkopf. Side by side between GT Racer and Apex Magnet. GT Racer around the outside in the Lexus. Now heading on to the Döttinger Höhe. Who has the power? I think that BMW is stronger in a straight line compared to that Lexus. Best after the stint there will be reviews, and then the next driver will probably get a drive through a 10-second or whatever, based on the judgment by the stewards. So we want to have it as near as possible to the race action still. So Clarkey into the pits, there's a driver swap, so Clarkey heading over to his teammate in P1. Philo will be pitting P2, and then we have still those 3 cars. Octavian, the 61 AMG P3, GTP Racer P4, Pristina in 6 Apex Magnet P5, then we have the another AMG, GTSE BMW, the McLaren, the Porsche as well. We have the number 16 BMW heading into the pits, and we have the number 666 car in it, and then finally we see Ghost heading into the pits. So driver swaps now should be all done and dusted, and I think the next stream should be running then by now.
In the words of John Hindhaugh, hello everybody! Welcome back to the Nürburgring 24 hours, ran by the Endurance Racing Federation. JeGr, you've done a fantastic job with your stint. The drivers are now running in Lobby 3, you'll be glad to know.
It took some time to actually finish the stint.
Definitely, I was there in chat and definitely didn't envy your job, but you've done a fantastic work with that.
Thank you. So have a good stint for you, and hopefully the adjustment to the safety car will provide some more racing and not just so many safety car laps.
Definitely. Thanks once again. And what stints will you be on for the remainder of the race? I recall you having some extra ones.
Yeah, I will do 6 and 10 for comms. And
Fantastic.
4, 8 and 12 as a driver, but yeah, that's all she wrote.
Busy night for you then.
Yeah, I'm gonna end the stream here. Thanks for watching, and please head over to the next part. See you in a future stream. Bye bye.
Indeed. Hello everybody. Nookshot Zokeo here, who was the qualifying commentator, if you recognise this voice. Saw some fantastic action yesterday, and it would seem that the pole sitter is the current race leader in the form of the Race Asylum number 24 Nissan. They've got a 17-second gap over series organiser TDR Mr. T17 in the number 17 Mercedes. Something tells me he may have had an influence on that racing number. Team Loa in the Lexus, remember them from qualifying, they're also joining me in this stint today. Solidly in third position for the Clockwork Motorsport team. Francis is in fourth, as I just checking the info displays. Something was going wrong there. Apologies for that. Yes, Francis for the Capital team, the Mercedes, doing a very good job in fourth as it stands. Fifth place is DCT Incredibile, very closely followed by MRL Gel. Very close scrap as they make their way down towards the foxhole. So that is car 10 ahead of them, Gel. DCT Incredibile in the Nissan. That was the Nissan that you may recall got black flagged in qualifying due to a livery infraction. As you can see, the number board is fixed and the right one. So they're in fifth, Gel in sixth. That is the Team MRL BMW. Jefferson, they were a very strong contender in qualifying. They were second in Q1. Unfortunately didn't have the best of runs in Q2, but we know they are very strong on pace. We'll see if they are able to catch the rest of the field up ahead of them. Fan favourite Dominic Kubinski in the Porsche number 88 of Project Revolution. They're doing well. Jefferson, I should say, is in number 68 of GTSV Endurance Team. And their teammate in the Mercedes, number 67. The Stig, another one that we saw in qualifying yesterday. They're being very closely followed by the McLaren of the Team MRL, that's the 44 machine. Another fantastically liveried Golf car. Pled Silver, another one from qualifying. We went on board with them in the qualifying live stream. They're driving for Team TDR Design. So their teammate is currently in second place, or shared team in that regard. Of course, teammates a bit different when they're sharing cars in this. CLR Yupe, I think I pronounced that right this time, in the 22, the Green Machine. Definitely a fan of that, hashtag no bias. Team Full Send running this machine. And there's the Roadrunner. Wait, no, that's Woody Woodpecker, never mind. Ignore all that. Oh dear. They're in 13th at the moment, the car 666 of Team Ready to Race. And the City, that's going to be a difficult one to pronounce, but they're in the G-Force Racing Porsche 911, number 997. And that is your current running order as things stand at the beginning of Stint 3 of the ERF Nürburgring 24 Hours 2023. Hello to everyone in chat that's made the transition over. Tomsoft in chat saying I would go nuts if there was a Z4 in here. Unfortunately, there is no Z4 on the entry list. It's more modern machinery that is allowed for this. Z4, getting on a bit in years, but still a very majestic machine indeed. And as you may have seen in previous stints, very much safety car fraught. We also saw a bit of a spell with weather, some light rain. Things looking a little bit brighter at this stage, and we've not seen the likes of a... I mean, I'm tempting fate here with Curse of the Commentator and such, but no safety car as of yet. The rules were slightly altered, as you may have heard. 3 cars needing to be involved, with 2 points of mechanical damage across the involved cars. At the moment, it seems the 24 Nissan is very much checking out. 18.5 seconds and increasing is the gap for the lead. Race Asylum Ost. Home circuit for the German driver. And doing a very solid job in the opening stages. So it does just take one safety car and the field bunches back up again. Although they are slightly less likely to happen now. Meep, that's the Roadrunner one, isn't it? Not the I don't know. It's already descended into chaos, and we're only just coming to the end of the first proper lap of this stint. Stint was shortened by 1 lap due to the safety cars taking up quite a lot of time, so a little bit shorter of a stint this time around to get back on schedule. I might have to do that for a few stints in a row. How's the audio, by the way? Because I may or may not have slightly damaged my microphone by potentially stepping on it earlier, like a complete melon. Hopefully everything's okay. I'm considering getting a new microphone at some point in the future. We'll see how that goes. Ost slightly clipping the gravel, it would seem, as they're making their way through the Grand Prix Strecker. And the gap has increased to 20 seconds, as I believe we're seeing some maniacal close racing here. 4 cars all together. That's 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. A couple BMWs, a Mercedes in there and a Nissan. As to the inside goes Jefferson. I did mention that they were extremely fast in qualifying and they are making moves up the order. So Jefferson now making their way towards the Dunlop curve, or the Bridgestone curve, as I believe JeGr said on the last stream. They keep changing the name. I'm just going by what's on my track map, and as outdated as it may be, it does say the Dunlop curve. Through the Schumacher S, that one hasn't changed. Flash of the lights there, trying to unsettle the car ahead. Oh, everyone's sort of bunching up. This Nissan GTR of Incredibile seems to be the cork in the bottle at the moment. And Jefferson will be trying to do their best to get past as soon as possible, looking to the inside of the NGK chicane, and they get it done. Will they get a penalty for track limits? I think they should be okay, and indeed so. As also taking advantage nearly was MRL Gelb, couldn't quite do it, and now they've made it onto the Nordschleife, so overtaking is at a premium. reading a little bit of chat, but very difficult to do so when the action is this close. Now, will Jefferson be able to make good their escape? They've already got 6/10, but they haven't broken the slipstream range, and Incredibile in that GTR seems decently quick on the straights. Through the Flugplatz they go, and thankfully, even in the dirty air, the car's able to hold on. Gelf is going to have a very good run here through Strandenkreuz and into the braking zone for Arenberg. We're going to go on board with them, I think. We can get a somewhat decent camera angle. Here it is. On board with Gelf. Decides to think better of it this time around. Yeah, that's a good camera. Letter J. I'll try and remember that for later on the keyboard controls. Now going down through the foxhole section. Switching to Francis in the capital machine, one place back. And Adenauer Force. Seems that Gelf is all over the back of Incredibile from here. Incredibile seemingly struggling a little bit compared to some of these guys in terms of pace, but very, very high standards as we saw in qualifying throughout this field. We're going to have to switch back to this, making their way through the Nürburgring and the Eiffel Mountains. Difficult to keep track of what else is going on at the moment. This is by far the most exciting thing I've seen so far this stint. Gelf can't quite find their way past. Still just holding back, not taking risks, and that was something that we saw a lot of in the previous couple of stints. The drivers making somewhat silly risks and mistakes. Now things seem to have settled into a nice, somewhat predictable rhythm. So saying that, here we go as they exit Bergwerk and into another high-speed flat-out section. Gelf is looking to the outside line as they make their way through Kesselchen and towards Klostertal. All these kinks in the circuit make it difficult to run side by side. And indeed, Gelf having to hold back still as Francis and Kubinski still dueling. Will we see an overtake here? Not quite. Towards the carousel they go. And Jefferson has a 3.6 second gap, so they definitely have managed to take advantage of the cleaner air and are continuing to take advantage of the others not able to get past Incredibile. One potential slip up and it could lead to a complete shuffle of the order. We're going to check in on some of the other places as they go through a single file section. Just on the back of this group is the Stig. They're also gaining ground, as is MRL Shane in that McLaren. Lead Silver as well, not too far back. UPay and Roadrunner quite close on circuit, and Zerk City a minute and two back. They'll be hoping for a safety car, no doubt. Race leader Ertz still doing a very good job through Galgenkopf and onto the Dottinger Höhe straight shortly. That gap continuing to increase. Another one to monitor will be the second and third. Will Team Low be able to catch T17? It's currently 2 seconds. There you see the Lexus in the background. And Jefferson 6 seconds ahead of a group behind. Checking in on everyone. This is still the fastest or closest group. Now this is going to be a very good opportunity for an overtake. The Dottinger Hose straight. Gelf very handily in slipstream. Going for a rear wing cam on the Nissan GTR. Let's see what that BMW's got in a straight line. Some of the BMWs we saw were very strong on the straight. It can all vary depending on setup. As it would seem, it's gaining, but not to a completely rapid extent. They're making a move, going to the outside. I think they're not quite close enough. They're going to be very brave on the brakes if they want to get something done, and indeed, they back out of that one very wisely so. Oh, bit of a switch up of racing lines as they make their way onto the Grand Prix circuit. These two have actually managed to break away from the likes of TSR Francis, which is intriguing. Oh, looking to the inside, I think Incredibles outbroke themselves. Looking to the outside of the Yokohama S. Gelf, can they put the traction down? It looks like they've got the place. Very nicely done. That little bit of scrapping has allowed TSR Francis and Co. to catch up a bit. They're closely followed by the Stig. That's 7th and 8th. Into the Dunlop curve. First flying laps, and we're seeing they're around the 8:16 mark. So an 8:06 for us. And we saw sub 8 minute lap times in qualifying, although that was on lighter fuel loads. Now will Gelf be able to do the same as Jefferson and drive away? Looks like there's a bit of a gap, but Incredible still there. Hold your line, as the iRacing spotter would say. No, they're not side by side. Mercedes Joule as they're making their way onto the Nordschleife. And Sabina Schmidt's curve. Oh, a bit of a sideways moment for Shane and the McLaren. That's allowing Kubinski to get side by side. Bit better traction there from the Porsche. Well, that Porsche DNA, and Kubinski does get ahead. But Shane down to 10th, Kubinski up to 9th, and Wilfred Silva, who's now on the back of this, be able to benefit as well. Yellow flags up ahead. What has happened? That's Gelf. Gelf is off. Gelf is off. What has happened? What has happened here? It seems they were by themselves. Was it just a solo mistake? Oh! Just using the curb, and the car did not like that on throttle. He's got some mechanical damage, it would seem. As I don't know how's the race info keep coming up when we're on replay? I mean, like the extra info. That's strange. Bit of a weird glitch. But Gelf, that is extremely unfortunate. They've got front aero damage, as we saw, and now they're coming under attack from the likes of Roadrunner in the McLaren. Meet. Into Arenberg they go. And of course, that being a single car incident, that isn't going to trigger a safety car. So that's a free position for the cars up ahead. TSR Francis 6. DCT Incredible. Oh, that's a very close-up camera shot there by Jack Wilkinson on the cam, as usual. The Stig, seemingly happy to stick behind Francis as it stands. Two Mercedes drivers, ran by two different teams, of course. Seem able to close in certain places. Perhaps a difference in strategy, or rather setup. That's the word I was looking for. I knew it began with S. Close stuff. Also, when it comes to the night stints, interesting that the 67 Mercedes of the Stig doesn't have the auxiliary endurance package lights. So we'll see how that develops as we get towards the night stints of the race. It's evening currently at the Nürburgring. All the fans around the circuit, 150,000 crowd capacity, will be enjoying a nice beverage and a barbecue perhaps. Though thankfully they're not seeing any smoke across the circuit. Because unfortunately that's to do with the Gran Turismo settings that the barbecues aren't on the online settings. Oh well, we can pretend. Francis still ahead of the Stig. It looks like the Stig is managing to close up. Will they look for a move as they're making their way towards this very tricky section? This is where we saw the last safety car. Towards the braking zone before the run-up to the carousel. Contrasting lines. It seems that Francis went a little bit defensive. Now the run to the carousel. Difficult to make an overtake stick here, but you can benefit if the car ahead runs too deep. It seems Francis had a bit of a better run through there, as did Kubinski, who gained a bit of time, now within 6/10 or so. The dirty air not helping through this section. There's gaps, but it's not to the extent that it gives the drivers much room to breathe. There's been very impressive display so far from all these. Shane and Fled Silver also in this particular train. At number 44 McLaren looking to close back in on Kubinski. Oh, but they ran a little bit wide, and this could be Pled Silver's chance to make an overtake round the outside. Oh, and there's contact, and Pled Silver's ran off the circuit. That could be one to look out for in the stewarding reports. It all started with a mistake from Shane running into the gravel that allowed Pled Silver to get a run around the outside. They're definitely alongside enough. They're nudged off of the circuit. They'll perhaps be thankful that they didn't get mechanical damage from that. But still, not ideal. The gap continuing to increase at the front of the field. This could be the story of this stint. Race Asylum Ost in the number 24 Nissan. 27 seconds and an 8:04.627 as they cross the line this time around. Team Law, meanwhile, has actually managed to overtake T17. Apologies that we've missed that. I'm not sure when that was. But Team Law has managed to hunt down T17. And has demoted them to third. And Jefferson has done a very solid job catching back up. We know they've got pace in that BMW M6. We saw that evidently in qualifying one. And they've got visual references ahead of them as they go purple in the first sector of the Grand Prix circuit. In fact, they have the current fastest lap of the race overall, an 8:09.11. Not quite sub 8 minute, but extremely close. Will they be able to keep it up for the duration of the stint? We'll have to keep an eye on it. Incredible has a 4.5 second gap over Francis at this stage. They seem to have gathered a bit more pace, it would seem. They're setting personal best sectors once again. The Nissan perhaps not so good on a very high fuel load, but once some of it burns off, a little bit more competitive. Either that or Incredible just finding a little bit of a better rhythm. In the background, Francis still ahead of Kubinski. There was a Mercedes somewhere in this. What has happened to the Stig? There must have been a very big mistake for the Stig. Either that or they came into the pits. Display all. Oh, they did go into the pits. That's fresh tyres and full fuel for the Stig, so they're going a bit off strategy. And the same would be said for Zerk City, who is currently in the pits. Also, I can finally click on them. There we go. They're in the pits. They're perhaps also playing for a potential safety car. That way, once the field is bunched up, they won't have to pit and they can gain track position that way. It's not a bad strategy, especially with the way the race has been going thus far. And Jefferson has definitely caught up to the back of T17 through Schredenkreuz and braking for Arenberg. Oh, nearly a bit of a nudge on the back of the Mercedes. Don't think there was contact, but it got very close. Going on board with Jefferson in the 68 machine through the foxhole and the compression. Look at the sparks from the Mercedes diffuser as they're making their way towards Adenauer Force. Again, extremely close. Ooh. Juicy, juicy stuff. Bit of a slip from T17. Doesn't get a great exit. Side by side they run. And I think Jefferson might have this. Still side by side. T17 will have the inside, but they back out of it. Jefferson up into third place. And that was all courtesy of a mistake on traction made at Adenauer Force by T17. Very easily done. As, oh, Incredible's off! We literally just cut to them and they're off the circuit. Oh, they're going to have to rejoin safely. Look at that, plenty of cars. The whole field going through, well, not quite the whole field, but hyperbole. As they might even come under threat from Roadrunner, who's been making ground, and that was a very heavy front impact. That might be engine damage. Let's see what happened. Zooming in once again on the Nissan. Oh dear. Was it just carrying a bit too much speed? Was it clipping the grass? Oh, it was! The grass, there you see it. Brake disc glowing red. Very lucky to escape without engine damage for that Nissan. Front aero and front right suspension though. Well, I say lucky, I mean by comparison you understand. And now they're forming a bit of a bottleneck as Roadrunner and Yuppie have caught up. Oh, and Roadrunner's gone off the circuit trying to make a pass stick. They get it stopped. They lose the position to Yuppie. Now, was there any damage on that occasion? No. Everything okay with Roadrunner, just not an ideal place to pass. And they've lost time. Free position for Yuppie, as on the high-speed section, the aero damage definitely taking into account. Incredible has just typed mechanical damage in the chat, although that was a little bit late from when it actually happened. They're coming under attack again from Roadrunner, who's now caught up. Roadrunner will most likely be a bit more cautious when making a move. They're coming up to a section that's very difficult to make a pass at though. so could be stuck behind Incredible and lose time to Yuppie in the process. Looking back at us, this Nissan having no trouble whatsoever, half a minute pretty much ahead of the field. Team Lower, now it'll be interesting to see now Team Lower's ahead, as also Jefferson's caught up to Team Lower very fast. I was going to say whether Team Lower can make any advances into us lead. It might be a case of Jefferson making advances into the lead if this keeps up. Extreme pace being shown by the Belgian. How did the number 17 drop to 4th place? Just on pace, it seemed. Team Law had superior pace, and then Jefferson got past as T17 was a bit slippy out of Adenauer force and couldn't get the traction down. And Jefferson managed to get better traction and overtake there. That was what happened. Going onto the Dottinger through Golkenkop and onto the straight. This should be relatively easy pickings for the BMW. We're going to go on board. Oh, look at the speed overlap. Fantastic to see. Now, will Team Law be able to slot back in and get him back? It'll be very difficult, and a little bit of a slipstream break there by Jefferson. Good tactics. Team Law is gaining in slipstream again, but it's going to be too late to make a challenge. And across the line they will come. We've got major damage again. This time for Francis, I think that was. Someone, I may have missed it unfortunately. Kubinski and Pled Silver battling, as Pled Silver's actually up to 5th in all of this. So they've benefited massively. I'm gonna see what was going on. Was it Francis? Apologies, my memory's not too great as to who it said in the chat had the mechanical damage. Incredible, we know, had it. One of these lot. It might have been MRL Gelf, perhaps? Oh no, it was Shane. Shane's the one. They have front aero, front left suspension, and rear aero. So they've hit the barrier twice. They're into the pits, as is Incredible. It's a very bright green pit crew for a Golf liveried machine. Incredible has fueled up, they're repairing the damage, and they are on their way out. Here is the pit stop for Shane of Team MRL, the 44 McLaren. What a Shane, says Tom Soft in chat, then corrects it with shame. Oh dear. It's going to be a very long broadcast if I have to put it with jokes like that. All these incidents seem to be single car, and thus no safety car called. The gap seems to be coming down maybe a little bit between Ost and Jefferson. Jefferson's managing to gap Team Law a bit. So Jefferson will be trying to chip away. Team Law doing a very solid job at the moment. An 8:06.8 was their last lap, that's a personal best for this stint. T17, an 8:09.9 through Flugplatz and towards the Schrendenkreuz. Pled Silver, they've benefited massively from the unfortunate misfortunes, though I assume misfortunes would be unfortunate, wouldn't they? The happenings going on with other cars making their way up through Flugplatz. getting flattened these days after the tragic incident involving, I believe it was Jan Mardenborough's Nissan GTR and a spectator that unfortunately lost their life after a massive incident. So changes made to the circuit there. One of the few changes that have been made to the circuit, in fairness, still retains a lot of its old character and charm. Good stuff by Pled Silver. Kubinski, fan favourite in the chat. His name normally said in full caps lock. Braking for Adenauer Force, and Francis is catching up. It would seem that the Porsche is not as kind on its tyres compared to the Mercedes, as I'm once again realising that this daft graphic keeps coming up automatically whenever we go to replay. Sorry, T17 and the broadcast media department, please don't fire me, or do, I don't know. Oh dear. But yes, Francis with better tyre life it would seem in that Mercedes. Francis was drafted in relatively last minute to this team, as unfortunately Retorius, who himself was a replacement for TSR Mauro, couldn't make it. I believe we've seen another incident. What was it? Oh, spin for Shane. Well, we've caught that on air. Xerxity has left. Incredible has front aero damage again. That's what's happened, it would seem. I think they lost it by themselves at Adenauer Force. Quite early on in that. Maybe got on the curb while braking. That'd be my best guess. Yeah, it's curse of the commentator, Tomsoft. These things happen. Thanks everyone once again who was tuning in. We're currently at 49 viewers. San Francisco would be proud. Things are indeed settling into more of a rhythm. All the incidents we're seeing are single car incidents. Francis has managed to get ahead of Kubinski. When did that happen? Quite a while ago, but not as a while ago as when that replay was, it would seem. Apologies for missing that. Difficult keeping track of all these different things. I mean, I guess at this rate you kind of want the camera to be off you, because the amount of incidents that we've managed to catch so far has been frightening. There you see just the difference on the graphic for Kubinski and Francis in terms of tyre wear. Very significant. Also the Mercedes a little better on fuel. Roadrunner, they're currently 8th. They seem to have actually caught and passed Yupe. So that little battle has continued. And continues to continue, as continuing things tend to do. Number 22 Mercedes. Still in the slipstream, and they're going to be trying to stay in that slipstream range for as long as they can, just to get towards the Döttingerhöhe Straight, as we know. One of the best places to make an overtake. As, Roadrunner a little bit slow through Schwalbenschwanz and that mini carousel. through Galkenkop. Perhaps the McLaren a little bit unstable in comparison to the front engine Mercedes. Juppe well within slipstream range, but not gaining on the McLaren. That's interesting. A bit of a crosswind on the straight, so slipstream range won't be affected by the wind. But yeah, that McLaren is absolutely rapid on the straights, and Juppe seemingly no straight line performance at all. What kind of speeds are they hitting? 166 I think I saw momentarily. Now in qualifying we saw the likes of one of the BMWs get to 169 I think it was. So clearly a speed disadvantage, as there's an overtake here as well. Roadrunner on Kubinski into turn 1. Very nicely done. Roadrunner making a position. Kubinski clearly struggling on the older tyres. When I say older tyres, they're the same age, but just more wear on them, as a penalty's just been issued. I think that was 30 seconds. For DCT Incredibile. That's to be taken at the next pit stop. Thanks once again to our live stewards that are doing this. It's always a tricky job running an event of this nature, and there's so many people behind the scenes that make it possible. Same can be said for all the entries as well, of course. It's not just the drivers. There's team personnel, those that help out with setup data and such. A lot of it is done by the drivers, but there are members as well. And we thank them all for their efforts. Roadrunner, a bit of a mistake, running deep into the NGK chicane. That's allowed Kubinski to catch back up again. Oh, very slidey by the McLaren. Making their way through Schmidt's curve, and on the run towards the Hatzenbach. Oh, and that's Kubinski off. Kubinski has gone off. They rejoin, managed to stay ahead of Juppe. Oh, more sideways action. That Porsche is not in a good way. I wonder if they've got damage. Oh, more sideways action. Juppe having to do some avoiding action. Through Flugplatz they go. I think there could be an overtake incoming. Perhaps at Orenburg, if not before. Kubinski's got to be very careful here. We're going on board with Juppe into the braking zone for Orenburg. Gets it stopped nicely on that occasion. Now the run down towards the foxhole. And the compression at the very bottom of it. You can see the sparks in the distance being thrown up by the cars as the sun continues to set here at the Nürburgring. Juppe maintaining their distance into the braking zone. That's very smart driving. Don't want to be completely on top of the car ahead into the braking zone, because the accordion effect will cause an incident. And Juppe surely knows it's just a matter of time. But Kubinski does gain a little bit back. Display info. Oh, there is a massive difference in tyre wear. Although Juppe has used a lot more fuel, their tyre wear is significantly better. Hold on, I'm gonna quickly check again. Was it a different compound? No, it is softs. It was softs that UPay is on. So, however they've set up that Mercedes, it is extremely light on its feet. And that is definitely going to help them out towards the end of a stint. I doubt they will be double stinting tyres. I don't think it's that big of a gain, but it always helps to keep the tyres alive. On the run towards Kesselchen. In the slipstream once more is UPay, back on board with the Mercedes. Clouds getting a little bit pinker in the sky as the sun continues to set. Again, lifting off. This kink has been absolutely evil over the years. It is a menace, both in real life and in the game. Unfortunately, it's not named on my track map that I have up. It's definitely a tricky section of circuit. Oh, UPay trying to get a little bit better traction over the Porsche. Again, this section is another tricky section to pass in. It's all consecutive corners, that's the issue, and the straights that there are only last for about a second or so, if that. Yes indeed, there's a drastic difference between pinker clouds in the sky and pinker clouds on the weather radar. Unfortunately, we don't have the weather radar available to us here in the broadcast studio. Kazunori, please get on that. That would be a fantastic addition to the live events as well as for League Racing. Who knows, maybe that will be something that we see in the Amsterdam live event that is coming up soon in the Gran Turismo World Tour. Let's hope. A little bit airborne with the front wheels as they make their way through the latter sections of the lap. Through Flansgarden. UPay all over the back of Kubinski, and again, all they need to really do is stay in slipstream range. As Gelf has picked up mechanical damage, I don't know if it's a multiple car incident. We're going to check on it shortly. What's happened here? Well, they've already got the damage, so it's taking them a while to officially report it. So I did press the replay set button pretty immediately after they typed. Oh, that's unfortunate nevertheless. As oh, yep, side-by-side action on the straight. UPay and Kubinski. 162 miles an hour for the Mercedes. What's the Porsche got? About the same. Now in the downhill section, Kubinski does have the InsideLine.com for the Tiergarten. And somehow, on these completely shot tyres, manages to hold on. Very impressive stuff by Dominic Kubinski. And they go into the pits. That I honestly do not blame them for whatsoever. They're going to have to try and find a way of extending their stints, though. Perhaps. Or is this about the halfway distance? No, it's a bit before. So yeah, they might go for mediums here, would be my guess, unless they're hoping for another safety car. Just because the fuel could do the distance, but the tyres definitely couldn't on the Porsche. The Stig has gone by. And it would seem that Kubinski is on another set of softs. And 3 seconds! 3 seconds of penalty. That'll be for cutting a pit exit line. Pit entry or exit. Oh, Kubinski, why? Oh, they'll be kicking themselves after that, but then again, 3 seconds in a 24-hour race, it could be a lot worse. Just regather your focus and keep going. Gelf into the pits, they were the one that picked up damage, seemingly a single car incident. If you're enjoying the live stream so far, be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the Endurance Racing Federation YouTube channel. More fantastic content like this to come. As we mentioned earlier, there was a disconnect. That was Zerk City. And that was the number 997 G-Force Racing Porsche that ended up either disconnecting or leaving. They were at the very back of the field, so it's perhaps up for debate as to whether they threw in the towel or not. Stu's will be looking into that. There may be stuff on Discord. I am not one to make a call on that. I'm just the funny voice guy that talks about stuff. Race Asylum, number 24, still the leaders, but look at that. Last we checked in, that gap was 30 seconds between first and second. It is now down to 24. So Jefferson continues to chip away at the lead. Will they get there before the end of the stint? At this rate, I think they'll be close, maybe within 5 seconds. If the consistency keeps up, that is. But they're definitely going to hand off their car to their teammates in a lot better shape than it was at the start of this stint. This particular broadcast is once again brought to you, like qualifying was, by Vimto. Good stuff. Unofficially, of course. Gotta stay hydrated. The lights are glowing as the sun continues to fall out of the sky. Team Law, an 805.493, that is their personal best last time around in that Lexus for Clockwork Motorsport. That's car number 56. And now the track temperature will be coming down a little bit. Wind speed has stayed pretty much the same throughout all of this. Nothing too drastic. Into the carousel they go. That Lexus has been handling a lot better than I would have expected. Testament to the engineering of the Clockwork Motorsport team, as well as Team Law's driving skills. T17 seems like they just missed the, exited rather, the carousel a bit early, but they're pretty much in no man's land at this stage, which is either a good or a bad thing depending on your perspective. I personally wouldn't mind this situation at all. Just being clean track by myself, no cars around to really worry about, just continue to set consistent lap times, and that is exactly what T17 has done. There you see, 8-minute 10s, the occasional high 8-minute 9. Very consistent driving by T17, the series organizer. I'm sure he's having fun out there. Fled Silver, car 16. This is the team car, actually, to T17. So 4th and 5th at the moment for Team TDR Design. Because 17 ahead of 16. The BMW seemingly setting a little bit better of a pace. An 806.369 last time around for Pled Silver. So they could be getting a bit closer to their teammate before the end of this stint. Sparks are getting brighter as well as the sun sets. They're nearly a second up on their personal best as well as Pled Silver, so great work by them. Roadrunner, they're also doing a very solid job, an 809.6. As Ost is into the pits, that is our race leader. Hitting at what is half stint distance pretty much. Remember, there'll be a lap at the beginning of that lap counter taken away. That was the lap to get to the pits. And there's also going to be a lap taken away at the end of that, as they enter the pits again. So we're essentially on lap... They're starting lap 8 of 14. I think. Something along those lines. So there's actually managed to go a bit further than half distance, if that calculation's right. Jefferson is... they've stayed out. So they take the lead at the moment, but still have to make a pit stop eventually. Team Law into the pits, as is T17. Team Law 71 litres of fuel and exiting. T17 yet to reach their pit box. Pled Silver goes by, seems that they're staying out. As that a little bit of a change between Roadrunner and Francis. Couldn't quite tell. Looked like the graphics jumped around a little bit. Both of these Mercedes are coming in. That's Francis and Yupe. Race Asylum Nick in chat saying Ost is smashing it. Glad the race has settled. Indeed, things have settled down in a fantastic way. There's still action in places, but it is nowhere near as chaotic as it once was. Fueling up for the Mercedes. How much will they take? 83 and 85 for Yupe. They both rejoin ahead of Dominic Kubinski, who pitted a bit earlier, you may recall. MRL Shane, they were affected by damage earlier on. They're down in 11th at the moment. But both MRL cars haven't had the best of stints here for stint 3 of the race. Gelf, who was a bit higher up the standings, battling in the around like 5th or 6th position spots. They're now down in 12th. And DCT Incredible remains 13th. He'll be hoping for a safety car. He might get it if that is a multiple car incident for Jefferson. I think it was, as there is an overtake on circuit. Oh yes, massive damage for Jefferson. What has happened here? Let's see if we can catch this on replay. I did click the button. Oh, massive impact. That's just after the Flugplatz, I think. What that will be is just getting the line a bit wrong as the tyres have worn off, clipping the grass on the outside or the curb, and that's unsettled the car and sent him spearing off into the wall. And that has allowed Ost to close up massively and overtake. Remember, Ost has made the pit stop. Jefferson has yet to make their pit stop. So that's an extremely costly mistake by Jefferson. Number 68 will have to recover from that one. They've got a long portion of the lap to go with damage as well. I suppose the only saving grace is they haven't got engine damage. It's still far from ideal. Be interesting to see where they rejoin after their pit stop. Team Law will be licking their chops at that one, I'm sure, if they're listening in on commentary or having a communication with their teammates that are watching it, team radio and such. That gap is coming down between Team Law and Jefferson, second and third. Fled Silver finds their way up to fourth as it stands. I believe they owe us a pit stop, as will Roadrunner. There you see T17 closing in. The Roadrunner can't seem to outrun this one. It was very close to getting engine damage there for Jefferson. I agree. There have been no short of action for this stint. Always seems to be the case with the Endurance Racing Federation and the events that I commentate on. Never seem to disappoint. If you too are enjoying the action, be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing for future events, as well as, of course, the remainder of this event. Very bright lights now from the number 17 Mercedes, closing in on Roadrunner. Roadrunner will be on old tyres. It's a mid-engine car, so it will have worn the tyres quite significantly as well, I'd imagine. We're going to quickly check in on that. Yep, decently worn tyres. Nowhere near as bad as the Porsche, I believe, for tyre wear. They've managed to get a decent way into this. They've missed the carousel, though, so they will have lost time there. And compare that to the fresher tyres, although heavier fuel weight, of T17. And now that 6.2 litre V8 engine of the Mercedes reverberating through the forest. As John Hindhaugh always says, there is something about the night and the colder temperatures that affects sound and makes race cars sound all that better. And of course Gran Turismo, fantastic job with sound design. It wasn't that long ago that we were listening to vacuum cleaners, you may recall, and now we've got these fantastic engine sounds. Oh, very close to the grass there for T17, gotta be careful of that. Under the Bilstein Bridge, towards the Tiergarten for our race leader. Ost has a 11-second gap over Jefferson, who needs to pit, and no doubt will be pitting this time. Jefferson making their way towards the end of the lap, and indeed will be going into the pits. They see a knocked over cone. Sure, one of the marshals will sort that out between stints. Should be fixed in stint 4. Into the pits at another thing I suppose is at least they didn't get damage on an outlap after they already lost time from pitting. But Team Law's gone by, very comfortably so. Pled Silver into the pits. Fueling up now for BMW of Jefferson, number 68. Repairing the damage. There's quite a lot of damage as well, so stationary for quite a bit of time. They rejoin in 3rd place. Roadrunner in 4th in the 666. Good run by them so far. Have they made a pit stop yet? They haven't. Roadrunner's McLaren has been doing a very good job. I'm surprised that they didn't decide to pit at around the half distance marker though, because they will be suffering towards the end of this, unless they're planning on not pitting at all until the end of this stint, which would be a very bold strategy call. I think it's the only car on Dunlop's, so very good work there by Dunlop on the tyre wear side of things. Good marketing. And they're managing to stay ahead still of T17 in the number 17 TDR design Mercedes. Pled Silver 11 seconds back from their fellow TDR design car. Bit of dust kicked up on that sort of concrete, that green concrete on exit of that particular corner. Braking for the NGK chicane. Faster of the 2 chicanes up this circuit. And now the transition onto the Nordschleife, the North Loop. It can be very bumpy on that section of the circuit where it transitions between the 2 layouts. Ooh, slight clip of the grass, but I think that may have just been netcode. The Stig, number 67. They managed to fight their way up into 7th place. An 809.001 last time around, that's a personal best for them. And that car looking very stable as they're making their way through the Hudson back section. And now towards the Flugplatz. And flat out on the run through the Schwandenkreuz towards Orenburg. One of the better overtaking opportunities of the North Loop, the Nordschleife. However, there's no cars around them, so everything perfectly calm at the moment. Under the Yokohama Bridge, 6/10 up on their personal best, so they keep getting faster and faster. Setting a very good pace. CLR Jupe in the white and green Mercedes, team full send. Through Adenauer Forst they go. Nicely done. They have shown earlier in the race that they have very solid pace, an 807.327 their personal best. So if they can channel that kind of pace into the final lot of laps in this stint, they could find themselves closing up to Stig. They've also got the likes of TSR Francis behind in the 51. that car was the car that started the race in second after qualifying, you may recall. Very impressive performance by the 51 team. Dominik Kubinski of the 88 Project Revolution, that Porsche. Nicely done. Oh, again, just can't quite tell whether that's netcode or just slipping a bit. This particular Porsche not used to racing on the Nürburgring, and that was a very sideways moment, well gathered by Dominik. As I was just saying, this particular Porsche not used to racing on the Nordschleife. This is the GTE spec, as opposed to the GT3 version, typically ran by the likes of Manthey Racing in the real race. In fact, it might be the only GTE spec car in the race is the Porsche. Not 100% sure on that, but it wouldn't surprise me. MRL Shane, the 44 McLaren, on the uphill climb through Kesselchen and Klostertal. And got to be very careful through this section. Very nicely done. Carrying a lot of speed and braking now. Very well done. Towards the carousel they go. How does the McLaren hold up in that section? A little bit high on entry. But gathers it up, and a very nice run indeed. Admiral Gelf, Shane's teammate. Different cars ran by the same team. That seems to be a bit of a theme of the two car teams, is none of them are running the same car as each other. Which is a little bit odd. You'd think with data sharing and such you might want to focus on a specific car, but I suppose also with different driving styles, with the amount of entries in this, might suit different drivers better than others. We've got 56 drivers competing with across 6 continents, is one of the stats that I've got here on my commentary notes. Now checking in on DCT Incredibile. They were quite up the order at the start of the stint, but things just haven't gone their way. They picked up damage, and perhaps it's my fault, because it was also when I was commentating in qualifying that this particular car was black flagged with the livery violation. So apologies if it is my fault. Kubinski's got mechanical damage. We're going to quickly check in on what's happened there. Is it a single car incident? Be surprised if it isn't. Okay, they went through Faubensschwanz and they just ran wide. That seemed like a lapse of concentration almost. That was very bizarre. Let's see this again for someone on board. Yeah, look, they just go straight on. They may have thought that they were exiting the corner, or like out of the corner. Maybe communicating to the team, just lost focus. It does continue to curve to the left after the mini carousel, so that's caught Kubinski. Will they go into the pits? No, they choose to stay out. I think at this stage you probably would lose more time pitting with mechanical damage than staying out. We're hearing breaking news from the live chat. Team G-Force, that is the number 997 Porsche 911 that we saw leave the race earlier in this stint. They have officially retired, is what we are hearing. That is such a shame. Hope to see them back for future events. The wind direction, first time I think well, second time maybe I'm mentioning that today. The direction of it has changed. It's now a tailwind going down the Dottingerhorst Strait. Speed's about the same, 3.2 meters a second. As I readjust the graphics. .3, the gap between us and Team Law. Actually, that gap has come down, hasn't it? Yeah, look. The last few laps have not been good for us. An 8:21, followed by an 8:23, and then an 8:11. What on earth has been going on with us? We're still in the lead with a gap. But Team Law... with an 8:04.3 last time around. Now, admittedly, 2 of those laps are going to be for the pit stops. I think that's lap 8 and 9. But still, an 8:11 for us on the last lap. That is the one that stands out. Yes, Nick mentioning that in the chat about the ones in the pit stop. But yeah, the 8:11 is a bit odd, considering, of course, their best lap is an 8:04. So maybe they're relaxing the pace a bit, but you want to hand off to your teammate with as much of a gap as possible, surely. A small oopsie is what Nick is saying. Ran off the track. Well, Ust is definitely improving the pace once again. They are green by 0.7 of a second, making their way through Kesselchen and Klostertal. But less than 20 seconds between them and Team Law. We'll continue to see how that one develops. 21 seconds, nearly 22 seconds, is the gap between second and third. Jefferson, they were hunting down the leader, but after that mistake where they picked up damage, they are now 41.5 seconds back from the lead. Back in a decent-ish rhythm though. This is going to be their first flying lap after their out lap, including the pit stop. So we'll check in on that as well, probably. T17, their last lap was a personal best. It was an 8:06.824. That'll be fresher tyres as well as a little bit lighter on the fuel load. Bled Silver also recently made a pit stop. They're currently in 5th in the other Team TDR design machine, running a little bit wide onto the grass, but gathers it back up. When you go onto the grass at particularly high speeds, the downforce can save you. It's at low speed, when in acceleration zones, that clipping the grass is at its worst. Of course, it's most ideal to just stay on the circuit, but no one told quite a few of these drivers that, I suppose. But it's easy to make mistakes. I mean, I'm saying all this stuff. I couldn't do this. What these drivers are doing constantly, lap in, lap out, is fantastic. Once again, this particular broadcast is brought to you by Vimto, unofficially. my beverage of choice for this. Good stuff. Into the latter stages of this particular stint, sky going very red, as are the clouds. Under the Bilstein Bridge once again goes Ost. And this looks like it could be another 804 based on that particular split. I had a nice bit of tailwind, but very nearly caught out by the tailwind on that braking zone. That's why you always got to check the wind direction on your mini-map. Very easy to be caught out by that. Very thankful at least that the wind speed's relatively low compared to some places. I recall the wind speed at the Daytona road course being a particularly tricky area. If you've got a tailwind, it's very easy to run wide at turn 1. If you've got a headwind, you can use it to outbrake somebody. Team Lower still in second place. That was an 8:04.199. Personal best lap by them. 18.4 seconds the gap between them and the leader. If they can maintain that gap, I'm sure they'll be happy. But they'll be wanting to chip away even further. Jefferson is back under 40 seconds from the leader, so they are continuing to up the pace. An 8:02.911 last time around. Slightly clipping the gravel. Nothing major. Brake discs glowing red as they brake into the Dunlop curve. Dust being thrown up on the concrete on exit. Into the pits goes the Stig. Is this scheduled? Based on the fuel load, I would suggest so. Their last lap was an 8:08.999. Solid pace. Let's see. Oh! Okay. They haven't got damage. Their tyres are in good shape. This is a bizarre one. They've got fresher tyres. They probably couldn't make it to the end on fuel then. That'd be the main reason. It was very cloudy in the previous stint. We even saw a little bit of light drizzle, which made the track a little bit slippy. Not enough for intermediates or wets, from what I recall. I think there was one car that maybe was on intermediates, but was able to change them back to slicks after the safety car. Or thanks to a safety car, rather. Something along those lines. Here's a little bit of a battle. We've got Roadrunner and Yupe very close together. 6th and 7th overall. Car 22 looking to chase down that 666 McLaren. Going on board now with Yupe. And you see, just as that barrier on the outside ends, they move to the right hand side for Sabina Schmidt's curve, just trying to open as much of an advantage through the corner. It's very risky if you get it wrong, but Yupe very experienced. Number 22 trying not to be distracted by the exhaust flames on the downshifts of that McLaren as well. Coming towards the flue plots. We'll have a good opportunity to slipstream. You want to stay back a little bit, not only to get the slingshot effect, but also just to maintain downforce through that section. but it seems that Roadrunner has that superior straight line speed. I think it may have been that car we saw earlier, when it and a Mercedes, potentially this Mercedes. Oh, there's a massive instant! Roadrunner's gone off! And that is a position gained for Yupe. I was just saying that the McLaren showed earlier that it had very significant straight line speed. Oh no, what has happened here? It seemed that they clipped the grass on entry, trying to get too far to the left, and they spin out of camera shot. We'll get another angle of it. There we go. Yep, moving over to the left. Just too much, clipping the grass. We saw Sergio Perez do that in practice at the Hungaroring recently. And they picked up front aero damage and front right suspension. A move that even professionals make. Flash of the lights there by Roadrunner. They're back going again. Will they pit to repair or will they stay out? Remains to be seen. I again think it might just be worth staying out at this stage, because the likelihood of a safety car with the field this spread out is very low. I've got to think, with the straight line speed that we've seen from that McLaren all day, whether it's also running lower downforce than some of the other cars, and thus making it a little bit unstable through these high-speed sections. Of course, the grass contributed as well, massively. We've got to think of it being like a combination of factors for car 666. He'll be kicking himself after that, I'm sure. Meets in the chat. Oh dear. Poor Roadrunner. And the gap between them and TSR Francis will be coming down. It's already around 10 seconds. Francis, I don't believe, has any damage. They've been running quite a conservative race. Yep, they are completely fine. Track temperature continuing to go down, wind speed dropping as well. If you are enjoying the broadcast here, live at the Nürburgring for the ERF Nürburgring 24 Hours 2023, then be sure to leave a like on not only this stream, but on all the streams of this particular race weekend, and consider subscribing for future content. It's all very much appreciated. We hope that you are enjoying content. So Francis in 8th, continuing to gain on Roadrunner. The Stig, also around 9 seconds back from Francis. That was an 8:26 last time around, so they probably pitted. I believe they did, yes, because they were the one that had good tyres but not enough fuel to make it. Could have saved a bit of time actually on not changing the tyres, but they are still gaining on Francis, a fellow Mercedes driver. MRL Shane in the McLaren. Oh, look at that vista in the background, the mountains here in the Eifel region of Germany. Obviously some of the campsites around the place. YouTube corner, otherwise known as Brunchen. Might recognise some of the camera angles here. Shane doing a good job in this latter stage of the stint. An 8 minutes 10.406, their personal best lap. Dominic Kubinski, fan favourite, after having to recently pit, I believe, for damage. They are back and not too far ahead of MRL Gelf. Gelf has been pretty much by themselves. That was an unintentional right. But they have been pretty much by themselves for quite a lot of this race. They were towards the middle front at the beginning, but fell back due to incident. Now they have a reference point ahead of them though, and that can be all the difference in terms of making pace. Oh no! Oh, well, oh dear, oh, okay. Things have not gone according to plan. MRL Gelf, I am so sorry. Making a mistake as they were going through the Schwalbenschwanz section. Here it is, a replay. Going on board. What was it? Was it just... I think they outbroke themselves, yep. Easy done. They already had front aero damage, it seemed. And nothing more than that. Oh, but they picked up rear aero damage on the rejoin. Oh, that's definitely not ideal. So Kubinski has more of a gap. And maybe Incredible is going to be able to catch up to Gelf. They don't have any damage and set a personal best lap last time around, an 809.203. We're seeing quite a lot of personal bests at this stage. Track temperature coming down a bit, perhaps playing its part. Fresher tyres as well. And the fuel loads being a little bit lighter. Gelf does go into the pits. So unlike some of the other drivers that decided to stay out, Gelf deciding to take the safe option and pit in to repair the damage. Will they take tyres as well? No. Just damage repairs. Was that a little bit of fuel maybe as well? Perhaps so. But yep, same tyres. They rejoin in 13th. About 18 seconds back from Incredible. A little bit of a position changing somewhere, or was that just the graphics doing the weird updating thing that they occasionally do? I think it was the latter. The headlights starting to make a difference. You can see the glowing not only around the car but also on the circuit and the guardrails in particular. The next stint is going to be a very interesting one, as it's going to be most likely the first stint with full darkness towards the middle and end of it. So definitely stay tuned for that one. It was an 804.1 last time around for Team Law, and faster again through that sector. Through Kesselchen and Klostertal, on the uphill climb, through the Eifel Mountains. Nicely done. That gap between first and second seems to have stabilised at around 20 seconds. Saying that, it was a personal best for us last time around, an 802.269. So, continuing to set a very impressive pace is the Race Asylum number 24 Nissan GTR, our pole sitter, and seemingly having strength in depth with their lineup, as it wasn't us that did qualifying. It was originally meant to be a Race Asylum Nick. I think there's a lot of Race Asylum drivers. Let me quickly check on this. It was either Nick or Clarky that was supposed to qualify the car, but one of them had some connection issues, so the other subbed in. They still stuck it on pole, and neither of them were Ust, and Ust is also setting an extremely fast pace. Not quite as fast as what could have been, for as we just see them run a bit wide, Jefferson. 7:59.700 and purple again through this sector. They are the fastest driver in this particular stint. Just haven't quite had the consistency of some of the others, especially when it comes to incidents. Just that one big one going through Flugplatz on exit earlier we saw, really costly, but they've put that behind them evidently and are continuing to gain on the cars ahead, Team Law and Race Asylum Ust. Team Law, we've not seen much of them, but they've been doing a very solid and consistent job in second place, so well done to them. Still plenty of the race to go, we'll see how that one develops. TDR Mr. T17, 4th place as it stands, through the mini carousel and towards Galgenkopf, which leads onto the Dottinger Höhe straight. We'll have a bit of a tailwind down the straight, a little bit extra top speed. I'm sure they've planned the gearing around that. Actually, I think the gearing is one of the few things that is stock on these cars, because it's a separate component that you have to buy, as opposed to being stock is the customizable transmission. So all the gearing is stock, but pretty much everything else is open tuning. Fled Silver, an 803.681 last time. They continue to make progress under that Bilstein Bridge and the Tiergarten. Good stuff. Yupe, solid 6th as it stands. Team Full Send running that white and green machine. Very nice colour scheme. I might use that myself somewhere. Oh dear. Good stuff. Why you paying that 22 Mercedes? Personal best again, an 806.104. 26 seconds to the car ahead, 27 to the car behind, which is TSR Francis. 7th place currently for the Capital Machine. Number 51, as you see on the door. Headlights ablaze. This is one of the Mercedes that actually has the endurance racing auxiliary lights. Whereas this one, GTSV the Stig, this particular team, which is the GTSV endurance team, number 67, they've chosen to go without the auxiliary lights, which is an interesting choice. Don't know how much of a difference it will make in terms of actual visibility. One thing I will apologise for is I've not really been able to monitor chat that much. There's been not only a lot of activity on the track, but a lot of activity in the chat, and it's all very much appreciated. Hope you are enjoying the broadcast. I certainly am, though I might be a little bit biased. AC Roadrunner using the curb on the outside on entry for the Schumacher S. That tilts the car slightly to one side, gives it a little bit better turn in. Should be able to go flat out through that section. Good work by car 666. MRL Shane, number 44. Wonder if there are Lewis Hamilton fans there at Team MRL. It's that number. Shane themselves with 33 in their username, so who's 33? It's either Max Verstappen or Daniel Ricciardo in Formula 1. And Max is using the number 1 at the moment. I think it might be Max when he's not the reigning champion. Not that any of that's relevant, of course. Nice green race suit. I'm very partial to the colour green, if that wasn't obvious. DC Team Incredibile. Through the strife of others, they are up into 11th place at this stage. Personal best lap last time around, an 8:08.341. I'd say they've probably had a better second half of this stint than first half. Once things settled down, things have got better for them. Dominic Kubinski, there you see them in the Porsche of Project Revolution, that Porsche 911, car number 88. Bit of a nightmare stint. We'll be hoping to bring the car back in one piece. Not long to go now in this stint. And MRL Guelph making their way towards the Flugplatz. Fantastic camera work again. Jack Wilkinson on the cam. Give yourself a pat on the back. Not that the staff are going to give you a raise, of course, but oh dear. Guelph for the Team MRL, number 33 BMW. So that's a bit of a funny one. MRL Shane, who's got 33 in their username, is driving the 44. Well, there's a 33 ran by the same team. That's a very interesting... what am I saying that's interesting for? That is scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of commentary. What am I doing? It's an observation, not an interesting one at all. Oh dear. Apologies, everyone. And of course, car 997 for anyone recently joining that's wondering, of G-Force Racing, that Porsche 911, fully green car. Unfortunately, that one has retired from the event entirely. So, we won't be seeing that one anymore. We're down to 13. Hopefully we see Team G-Force Racing return for future events. Chat keeping things very occupied, as there's actually a bit of a mistake, it would seem, for Guelph. We'll catch that again if we can. It's a slow speed section. Yeah, just oversteering. BMW can be a little bit slippy at times. Where would that have been? That's Versiphon, I'm pretty certain. That's one of the slowest, if not the slowest, section on the circuit. So that's when downforce is also at its minimum, having to rely more on mechanical grip. Ost now onto their final lap of this particular stint. It has been a very solid and dominant display by them. Can't really recall many mistakes, just that one on that lap was an 8:11, but that hasn't cost them in terms of damage or anything, to my knowledge at least. Yep, everything okay. And that number 24 Race Asylum Nissan GTR is looking to be in a very strong position as we head towards Stint 4. As for who's going to be on commentary for Stint 4, I am going to have a quick check on that. It should be UrbanPyrate who is going to be ready for that, so hopefully we'll see them shortly. Join the party chat or the crossover point. Right, time to get my notes back up on Discord. Where have they gone? Ah! Screaming! Oh dear. Why do I do this to myself? 19 seconds the gap as it stands between Ost and Team Law. The Clockwork Motorsport Lexus still trying to hunt down the German. Of course, home advantage for Ost on this circuit. Jefferson, not too far from Belgium actually. The other side of the Eiffel Forest and the Ardennes is Spa-Francorchamps, so really not that far away. They do share a microclimate, if I recall correctly, which is why the weather at Spa and Nürburgring is both equally terrible for rain and such. Still plenty of fans around the circuit as well. 150,000 is the crowd capacity for the Nürburgring. Purple sector as they make their way through Flugplatz for Jefferson. They do have the fastest lap of this particular stint. Don't know if it's the fastest race or fastest lap of the race entirely so far. Quite possibly is. 7:59.700 is extremely rapid. Considering that the pole time for real life this year by Raffaele Marciello was an 8:09.058. That puts it into perspective. Of course, there's a bit less of a fear factor and different balance of performance compared to real life, but still very impressive what both the real life drivers, of course, goes without saying, but also these sim racers are able to do. Not long to go now. Darkness envelops the Nürburgring. Oh, more sparks as they go through the compression at the foxhole. That is Mr. T17 of Team TDR Design. How many T's do you want? And do you want any crumpets with that T? Tea or scones, crumpets? What do you have with your tea? Let us know in the comments, I don't know. We're stretching here. Nearly made it. Though saying that, that's probably just me going off on a bit of a ramble. It's not like we've been short of action. A bit further back, it would seem there's a couple cars closer together. Francis and Roadrunner. Has that been an overtake recently? And the Stig also there in the back. Roadrunner looking to perhaps close in? We know the McLaren's extremely strong on the straights. There they are going through Flugplatz a bit earlier. Francis with their tyres. Oh, right, okay. So that's the situation. Stig and Roadrunner have fresher tyres. Francis is cutting it a bit close on fuel and also has worn tyres. So Roadrunner is going to have to take advantage. Very difficult if their car is indeed trimmed out for higher top speed but less so cornering. Difficult to stick close behind. Car 666 still doing a very good job sticking in there. And if Francis is holding up Roadrunner, that's only going to allow Stig in the background to catch up further. And it will be a very interesting battle at the start of Stint 4 between these three, if it stays as it is, as they'll be released very close together. Personal best lap time last time around for Roadrunner, an 8:04.756, and they're going green once again by nearly 0.3 of a second. Is Roadrunner still running without damage? I believe they got that repaired. Yep, they got that repaired. So they came into the pits, repaired the damage, and have now caught up to Francis. Still a bit of a net loss after that, because I believe it was Upay that they were up with, who's now in 6th place when Roadrunner went off the circuit and the braking zone for Arenberg. Now the run through Kesselchen and Klostertal. This uphill climb, but I think the torque of the Mercedes engine is going to be helping. Could perhaps see something into the braking zone just before the carousel section. Just here maybe? No, not quite. Thinks better of it. Still plenty of the race to go. We might even see, because it's that close, the position swap on the driver changeover. If someone has a slightly faster reaction. Oh, Roadrunner over the grass. Gathers it up. That was a very scary moment there for Roadrunner. Got to gather it back up. Ost is into the pits. Race leader into the pits, and once they come to a stop, they will be released for Lobby 4. I am not sure what is going on with the commentary situation for Lobby 4. The commentator is not in the party chat at the very least. The live stream might be starting, I'm not 100% sure. Team Law also into the pits, as is Jefferson. T17, still a bit of a way to go. They may have made a bit of a mistake somewhere, because the gap between them and Pled Silver has dropped to under 5 seconds. And that Mercedes is going slower on the straight. Has it got damage? No. Right then. Upay in 6th, as we mentioned earlier. Francis in 7th, and Roadrunner back on the tail of the Mercedes. Gonna go on board with Roadrunner. Meet me into Schwalbenschwanz. That's Swallow's Neck. Or rather Swallow's Tail. I was going to get confused the other day because it was either Swan's Neck or Swallow's Tail. It is indeed Swallow's Tail. I looked it up on Google. Just staying behind. We'll look to get a bit of a slipstream as they go through Golden Cop and down the Dottingerhose straight. Now Francis might let them go by and then re-slipstream them. If they've got enough straight to do that, it's possible, but McLaren extremely strong on the straights with this particular setup. Setups can also vary between drivers, so the McLaren might not be as strong on the straights in the next stint as it is in this one. The top 6 are all in the pits, ready for the switchover. Roadrunner is up into 7th. 8th place for Francis as they brake heavily. And these 3 will be extremely close together on the switchover. Hopefully the next broadcast is up so we can catch that action. Be sure to tune in on that. In fact, check out now, I'd say. Thank you all so much for watching this particular broadcast here for Stint 3. Stint 4 will hopefully be coming your way shortly. Be sure to leave a like, consider subscribing, and all that other good stuff. We've still got a few cars left to go. MRL Shane making their way down the Dottingham Straight under the Bilstein Bridge. Sparks being thrown up through the Tiergarten. Brake discs glowing red. And now we head over to the first proper night stint of the race. Thank you so much for the compliments there in chat. Fun Police for the commentary. Hope you've enjoyed. Hope you've all enjoyed. The live stream will be ending shortly. Incredibile recovers to 11th place in the end. Gelf will be 12th. That's another rhyme. Why does Gelf rhyme with so many different things? Oh dear. Next I'll start seeing elves in the Nürburgring forest. Or what else? Who knows? Kubinski will finish this stint. It will be one to forget for them. Car 88 in 13th. But they'll keep going. Gelf makes it to the pits. Stint 4 is not online apparently, according to chat. It should be up shortly. I'm sure they'll be working something out behind the scenes. In case something is wrong, make sure that you do subscribe, and especially with the notifications on. That way you'll be notified when something does go live and everything's sorted. Okay? So definitely do that. That's not even like a plug or anything like that this time. If you do want to continue to tune into this race, definitely subscribe with the notification set to all. That way you get notified when the next live stream comes up. Even if there's a technical issue for this particular upcoming stream, but the ones later on are back, then you'll be informed of those as well. That concludes Stint 3, everyone. We hope you've enjoyed. I've been Zokeo from Nukeshot Media. I'll post myself in the live chat. Hold on. There I am. Nukeshot Media in the live chat. That is me. Thank you all so much for tuning in for this particular stint. I have certainly enjoyed it, as well as qualifying. That's pretty much my duties done for the race weekend. So stay tuned on the channel, and we hope to see you for the remainder of the race. From all of us here at the Endurance Racing Federation, it's temporarily goodbye, at least from me. Hopefully we'll be seeing you for part 4 when that is all sorted. Again, remember to subscribe, notifications on all, that way you're notified when things get up and running. Thanks all, and I'll see you whenever I see you.